attention, I'd like to call to order the Berwick Planning Board meeting for Thursday, October 7th, 2021. If you could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So tonight we have Jerry Graybill to my left, to my right. We have Vice Chair Mike LaRue. We have Allison Hurley. On Zoom, we have the famous Amber Fecto, the even more famous Lee J. Feldman from Southern Maine Planning and Development. And we have James, who is now our town manager, who was our town planner. And we have Jenny McCabe, who is our code enforcement officer. Did I get all that? Yeah. I'm going to open our first public comment session. Public comment is open to any property owner or resident of the town of Berwick under the purview of the Berwick Planning Board. Seeing nobody come up, I'm going to close the public comment session and move on to the approval of minutes for the September 16th, 2021 meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes? Mm-hmm. Jennifer did a very good job. These are very thorough minutes. I found just a couple of things on page 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I just want to make sure that I'm at the right thing. Yeah, so at the top of the page 4, where it says sketch plan major subdivision, I just want to noted that I recused myself at the beginning of that I was recognized at the end of that Allison Hurley recused herself prior to Great Falls, and Allison was recognized after that. And then I have at the bottom of page 5, we'll see, now I have to, Berwick is Will. I think okay, so the next page, the bottom paragraph says Mr. Bellissimo to close a loop on parking, comma, Berwick is Will. It just should be Berwick is willing. Anybody else have anything?
Nope.
Amber, you're on mute. Do you have anything?
No, I don't have anything.
All right. I'm just going to amend these. So I would need a motion to accept as amended.
I move that we approve the minutes as amended.
I'll second. And all in favor? All right. That looks like 5-0 approved. All right. So moving on to old business. We are looking at the preliminary plan. It's still preliminary plan, correct? For the major subdivision, which is 7 multifamily units in an existing building at 170 Pine Hill Road, R1, R2 zone. Take it away.
All right. Can you do a preview, or you want me to just jump right in? Okay. This was we made some changes to the plan after our site visit. Just to do a quick review of the project. It's a 7-unit apartment building. It'll be 7 3-bedroom units with all the required parking and entryway, and has also been designed to handle stormwater flows kind of above and beyond what's normally required for something this size, just due to the fact that if there's any future development, we want to be able to handle it here. At the site visit, when we went, it was noted that there were some dying or dead trees out front, along with a large invasive species tree. So it was suggested that those be taken down and replaced with some more ornamental, or not ornamental, but more native and non-invasive trees. So we were showing some maples out by the road, which will also help deter the speeding around that corner, to have that visual block there. And we also added some arborvitaes out behind the where we have the dumpster location near the parking, near the existing right-of-way here, right up on this side. And that just provides a little buffer between the visual of that dumpster and that entryway going behind it. We've also gone through and had the survey, had our survey team go out and get actual eave and ridge elevations out there, as well as existing grades at the ground. And from that, we found that the existing building is just under the maximum. And the proposed building actually brings grades up, so we're about 9 inches, better, I would say.
Good, that's good to
So
hear.
we're still within the limit. The other items we listed were good. Sheet C1, we added a couple notes onto the bottom to address code enforcement and the town manager's concerns with the little bit more stringent inspection procedures that would happen on the site and the building here. So I think that's it. If we have any questions.
So I know I talked to Jen because at the site walk, we also found that there were like the doors on the back of the building needed to be barred, and you confirmed that that was done.
It's done.
Yep.
I was there at
Perfect.
8:30 this morning. Yep. Yeah, I checked it out.
Yeah, and there was also the question of the mold remediation.
Yeah.
And that was, those documents were provided directly to code enforcement, so I didn't put them into
I do have
the planning
yeah.
board packages, but I don't know if you
We have
forwarded them
them.
too. Okay.
Yep, we got those. So we also got the structural review notes, which Jen is going to use when she goes and does all of her inspections, as well as the mold. So we were discussing a little bit before this because the mold was tested, I believe it was like in June of this past summer, and we've had a lot of rain since then, and the structure has not been enclosed anymore since that time. Is that correct?
I'm not sure how much nothing has been changed.
Okay,
with
so
structure.
the mold was tested in June and it was remediated. Is that true?
That's correct.
It was mitigated.
Yep.
I was just, is that a concern for you, Jen, that the building has been open and that was June and now we're into October, that mold possibly could be growing back there again? Like there's nothing to prevent it.
So we'll see that on our framing inspection that we're
Okay.
gonna do, and if that's the case, we'll talk to Art about it at that time.
Okay, great.
Yep, and we can have them retested if need be, but we'll wait for the framing.
You can do that part. You don't need us
Yes.
to put that in here. Perfect. All right, Jerry, do you have any questions or comments, concerns?
No, I'm good.
Mike?
No, I'm good.
Allison? Wow, you guys are good. Amber?
Good, I don't have any questions.
All right. James, anything else to add or say?
Nope, tonight's for
Application
application
completedness.
and
Yep.
then we'll send a butter notices, and public hearing will be on the 21st.
Sound good?
Subject
So,
to,
yep, so I'm looking for a motion for application completedness then for this project.
I'll make the motion that we accept the application as complete.
I'll second that.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? All right, that looks like we have 5-0, and we will set the public hearing for the 21st. We'll see you back then.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Moving on to new business. I've got a sketch plan for a major subdivision for 259 School Street. This is in the R2 zone, and the applicant is SOW Solar. Lee J prepared the memo on this. I don't know if you want to talk about it, Lee J.
Certainly. Good evening.
Hi.
And glad to be back working with you folks.
We're happy to have you back.
Thanks. I mean, my memo is pretty basic. There's this project has been very fluid in the last couple of days. I've been dealing with several attorneys representing several different clients, and so I haven't really paid too much attention to the little bit in my memo, but I would indicate from the memo that, as you can see on the plans, you do have a significant vernal pool that is impacting lots 1 and 2 in that area. As it relates to that, one of the things that I kind of have a question about or concern about, if you will, is that lot, I believe it's lot 11, on the proposed plan has a very small, yes, lot 11, very small building envelope area, and I'm not sure if it makes a lot of sense to either keep that lot or look at doing something different for a design or location between lots 10 and 11 to give some more room for development potential.
Have good-
Lot number 3 does not have a test pit on it, so I'm assuming that by the time we get to preliminary approval or preliminary review, the applicant will have a test pit for lot number 3, which is not on this plan. A couple of other issues that had popped up. I'm not sure how much you folks have seen or gotten information on. The Heritage Drive is an accepted town road, and there's been some concern regarding modification of a DEP permit because of the stormwater coming down that road. Since it is a town accepted road and the stormwater is in the town's right of way, I believe as of today, we received a late email from the DEP, and they're fine with modification to that permit when the application is ready to go, because they will have title right and interest, and the town will have title right and interest, so the town can issue that permit and be party to the amendment to the DEP modification. I know that there is some concerns regarding the size of the lots here and whether or not clustering makes any sense for that. If you look at your zoning ordinance on page, in my zoning ordinance, I'm not sure if there's been any updates, but page 87, section 8.8 of the zoning portion of the ordinance talks about clustering and encourages clustering. So if the planning board feels a need to consider that with the application, they can do that. The other aspect of the project that raised a concern for me late as of today was with the solar aspect of the project, considering the lot that is going to accommodate the solar portion of the project was split off from this lot within the last 5 years. And while it doesn't have to be a lot considered as a numbered lot in the subdivision, it does need to be considered and shown as part of the subdivision. I'm also kind of interested to know what the thought is going to be regarding permitting of this, considering this could be considered a development of significance in the DEP laws and in the state law, because it's over 20 acres in size, and it could be regional or statewide significant development as a whole. As part of that, the subdivision regulations, Article 7.2D32 on page 7 of the subdivision regulations. At the preliminary level, I'm sorry I'm out of the screen, but I'm looking at the ordinance. On the number, what did I do with it? Number 32, the very last requirement of the subdivision regulations says, and this is a local issue as well in the ordinance, common scheme of development shall be shown for all contiguous or non-contiguous parcels or lots in the same immediate vicinity. The common scheme of development shall include the timing and sequence of development, types of land uses, anticipated roadways and access locations, numbers of lots, and open space to be preserved. Knowing that the solar project is adjacent to this, that this at this time has what I think is an access easement at the end of the cul-de-sac to access that property, and because the land has been part of the mother parcel as recently as within the last year, I would suggest that this really needs to be at least considered as one project, although it may be approved as 2 separate projects.
That was a mouthful.
He's
Sorry.
good.
No, you're really,
I've been moving very quickly on this
you're
project.
really, yeah, I
I'll
agree.
jump back in with you folks.
I agree, you're really good. So the clustering was something that I had asked about. We you know, if you're familiar with this parcel, it is some prime farmland. It's always been pasture and farmland, and it's a big, beautiful, open space. And open space is very, very important to the people of Berwick. We just asked another similar development to come back to us with the cluster. So you already have your regular sketch. We would like, I think, if the board is in agreement with me, that we would like to see a cluster sketch as well, preserving more of the good open space. And all of that's written in our ordinance, so you'll be happy to see that. I agree with Lee J about the, the common scheme and seeing the solar. Obviously, I mean, everything that I have in front of me right here is for a solar farm, and there's nothing for a subdivision. So we would want to see that whole project on a plan also. Mike LaRue, you
Yep,
have anything for me?
I think you said it all right there.
Jerry?
Nope, I think you said it well.
Thank you, Allison. Yep. Amber?
I agree.
Anything else, Lee J?
I think that's enough for now.
All right. You good?
Sure. I,
He's
mean,
like,
I haven't had to speak at all. Is there?
Okay, yeah, you absolutely can speak.
Sure. For the record, Michael Sudak of Atar Engineering
Yep.
here on behalf of SOW Solar Incorporated. David Jones, the applicant's attorney, is also via Zoom. Thank you, Lee J, for the comprehensive review. I can provide maybe a little bit of context. This isn't included in your packets, but I believe everyone except for you, Madam Chair, I don't remember if you were there that night, saw this solar sketch application back in April of this year. And just a little bit of an update on where we've gone since then. So what you see before you, I haven't touched since April. We were proposing almost a 5 megawatt solar development. Since then, we had the significant vernal pool confirmed to be significant. We've had conversations with Anthony Fontaine from the DOT about our inability to utilize the school street frontage, which has led into the attorney conversations that Lee J summarized, and also some state policy came down in early July regarding the maximum allowable size for solar developments, down from 5 to 2.
To 2, yeah.
So obviously the size of our development was going to shrink significantly, and we wanted to push it out of the vernal pool critical setback. So we pushed everything north, and then what you see there in the pink has become what we're proposing tonight. Let's see. I mean, I can give you an overview of the project. I'm completely fine with proposing cluster as well. I know the little bit of echo. I know the subdivision across the road. I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head. The little lollipop on the south side of School Street. Sydney, is that?
No, Brook.
I think you might be right. I think it's Sydney.
There is Sydney right there. There's another one
Yeah.
too, though, but yeah.
I believe that's a clustered
Yep.
development. But then the remainder of Heritage Estates, the lots on the opposite side of the road here, and then north, our frontage extending into the solar is a conventional
Right.
development. So I'd be happy to propose both. My only, I guess, caveat, just from an informational standpoint, and when I come back with a residential subdivision, if we want to consider it one project for common scheme and development, completely fine. The way the configuration of the road is shown tonight is just because there's no three-phase power on Heritage, so we will, for our solar development, be extending an underground electric corridor.
I'm gonna grab that mic.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
they'll yell at you.
That's okay.
Madam Chair, while he's doing that, I just want to indicate I'm at a little bit of a disadvantage only because I have not seen the solar project itself. So I spoke only to the residential subdivision portion of the project and nothing to do with the solar project. So, but carry on. I'm sure I'll catch up quick.
Yeah, I understand, Lee J. I'm really only touching on it just for a basis of understanding for why the road looks as atypical as it does. And really, that's the only comment I would like to have reviewed by the chair or the entire board tonight. So we're proposing to extend an underground utility corridor. I mean, the way the road's configured right now, up this sideline, underneath the road, and up into our solar development proper. That, of course, can change its location if we move into a cluster development, if this road configuration is deemed unsuitable and I have to iterate, but that's just my basis there. Yeah, and then I think on the cluster item, as I see if I don't break this, my only questions, I have the section of the cluster ordinance here in front of me. I reviewed it before the meeting. There's an item in there about not flag lots, but the lot to width ratio having to be no greater than 3 to 1. Am I to assume from that the normal dimensional standards for lot width and lot frontage go away?
Lee J would be,
Because otherwise I don't really see the point of that item. Because if you have 150-foot width.
From a lot requirement size and a density size wise, you're gonna have to meet all of that. If you're looking for something that is not normal dimensionally, trying to think whether the board has the right to waive that or not, as long as they're not shrinking beyond the scope of the clustering, shrinking the size of the lots, because that's really a variance that the zoning board of appeals would have to address, and I don't think they can address it because there's no hardships or anything there. So I think, Mike, since I'm kind of back in the picture here with the town, once you get something on paper, you can certainly send it up to me and I'll take a look at it and we'll work through those types of issues with you.
Sure, yeah, that sounds good. That one just stuck out to me because I didn't see a provision anywhere else in this chapter about either of those sections of the dimensional standards going away. So if minimum lot frontage and lot width is maintained, then I don't, see a way that I can get something that's 30,000. Or I said that backwards. I understand.
and the reasoning for the request for clustered here, as opposed to conventional on Heritage, is because this is farmland. I mean,
Yeah.
people have driven by this for 100 years, and it's always been a farm. And Heritage has always been, forested. And when that came before that board at that time, that's what they approved. But this is what's important to what we're hearing is important to the people in town, and so we certainly want to see it.
Sure, that makes sense. I just for the sake of you not being alarmed, I still have to have access to the solar development at some point. So
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
as though
Oh, no.
I'm going to be able to keep everything in this corner. There's still going to be
Correct.
a leg.
Yep. There's, follow the provisions, see what you can do, and we'll see what the sketch looks like.
Okay. Do I have any other questions? I have Lee J's letter here. I can actually, a couple of, if I can go back to Lee J's review. I've already scheduled our soil scientist who performed the high-intensity soil survey and test pits to go back out. We've iterated this lot configuration a couple times already, so we fully intend on having a valid pit in every proposed lot, whatever that configuration ends up being. And if we're proposing cluster, we're going to have to go get a tighter net anyway. So that's already on the books. Yeah, I think that's all I got. So you'd like to see me back for a sketch consideration?
Yes.
with both options?
Please, yes.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, David.
All right, and moving on to our second public comment session, seeing no members of the public, and do we have any online comments, James?
We do not.
Okay, I am going to close that public comment that I didn't even open. Moving on to informational items, I just have two things that I would like to just put in. I guess these are Lee J things, and I talked about it a little bit with you this morning, but just to put it in your ear. We don't have a definition of open space in our land use ordinance, but we are charging impact fees for open space. And people, including the people that run this town, are very confused on the definition of open space. So we need to define open space. And I also, because we have public space defined, and I think it's like, I met with the select board a couple of weeks ago, and even the select board is confused about the difference between open space and public space. And those are two different things. So Lee J, I'm sure you can help us with that, defining that so we can get it on the ballot for June. And then this is just, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but we kind of have, I mean, we have definition for single family home, although it's under dwelling. I think it should be pulled out of dwelling and put under single family so it's easier to see, because me, who looks at this thing every single day, had a hard time finding the definition for single family, multifamily, two family, whatever. I think they should be pulled out of dwelling. Keep dwelling, whatever. Put those under their own separate heading. And I would like to see condominium defined or at least referred to, because even I don't know if condominium is multifamily or single family, because it actually is single family in a lot of places. I don't know what we consider a condominium to be, but I think that that's important
it's
for
like
clarification.
Like attached single family, but yeah,
We should have some kind of definition. So those are just little notes that I found because I've spending way too much time looking at land use ordinances lately. Anybody else have informational items? Allison, you've got some voter stuff going on, right?
So the vote is on November 2nd, and we have 3 main things, which is the state, town, and school district referendums. So you can find all of the information to answer your questions on our town website.
What's the no on one? What are all these signs going up all over the place?
about the CMP corridor.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll have to educate myself on that.
Just a note, I think something that we should look at, or you folks should look at, and Lee J, I'd be curious what you think, is start looking at allowing 3 families and 4 families the same way we allow duplexes, and not make them go through. Sometimes when they convert an extra unit,
Bless you.
right now the way if someone wants to go from 2 to 3 units, it's a multifamily development that requires like a site plan review. We can, if someone wants to go to a 2 unit to a 3 unit, they should just be able to do it.
Oh, just with the same requirements, same dimensional requirements.
I mean, same dimensional requirements, but just the same way as building a duplex,
Okay.
a 3-family and a 4-family, to meet the missing middle housing.
Oh, hold on. Lee J wants to speak.
Proceed.
So I think this is interesting timing. Nicole and I did not speak about the single family or multifamily
correct.
issue this morning.
Talked
But
about open
something that I would like to shed a little bit of light on, and James, I think you actually spoke at one of the public hearings, but there is a legislative committee that has been put together. I am on a subcommittee of that through Maine Municipal Association, and they are looking at a number of issues relevant to how to address affordable housing in the state, not Section 8, not senior housing, but affordable housing for you and I in the workforce, and making housing affordable. One of the things that has been suggested a number of times that I'm sure is going to make its way into a piece of legislation is addressing multi-family units and doing away with single-family zoning in the state. Don't know how it'll play out. Don't know exactly when any legislation is going to come forward, but there is a big push by this committee and folks within the committee to take a hard look at that type of an issue. So I don't know, we can certainly continue to forge ahead with what you're seeking to do, but state law may dictate that we do something of the sorts at some point, and I just wouldn't want to amend the regulations to address it and then have to amend them again simply because the state law has changed on us. Did you hear that type of conversation, James, at the session that you spoke at?
Yeah, I was actually going to mention that in the email. I sent Nicole
I got the
the
email
latest
this morning,
YouTube link, and that was the comment I was going to make, is that, yeah, they have talked seriously about eliminating single-family zoning. So that's...
So like dimensional, so like right now, just for the folks at home that have no idea what we're talking about. So if you have a single family house in R1, you have to have 10,000 square feet of acreage. If you want to build a duplex, you need to have 20,000 square feet. If you want to build a triplex, so you have to have 3. Is that what it is, or are they like more density?
Well, part of course, there's no legislation yet, so we don't know what it would look like, but the intent would be to say that if you had a single family home on 10,000 square feet of lot on town sewer, then you should be able to have a 2-unit or a 3-unit there instead.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, they're very critical about minimum lot sizes.
Yeah.
And there's different ways to regulate it. But some communities literally have like R3 and you can only do single family out there.
yeah. Yeah.
One of the things that I've been talking a lot about, and it's actually ironically been a tough issue for people in the more northern part of the state to really grasp, is I've been asking that the state take a look at all of the requirements for septic system design now, because our technology is so much further advanced than when they wrote the law saying you had to have 20,000 square feet for a septic system on a single family home, or with, X number of beds in the home. And, that's one of the affordable housing issues, is can we shrink the size of the lots and allow for septic systems that are much more efficient than what they were when they came up with that law. So that's also being looked at and is making its way through the MMA recommendations to this committee.
Really cool stuff.
Makes sense from like a social equity standpoint that someone in R3 should have that opportunity if they want
Yeah.
to live there.
And there's been pretty
Well, and as you may know, talk about that, the state law has just changed, or actually it's a holdover bill, but ADUs, accessory dwelling units, are going to be allowed by right everywhere. So
That's good. I'm a
Yes.
big proponent of
Another-
accessory dwelling units.
to go along with something that I think is interesting. Maybe we look at considering some communities allow 2 accessory dwelling units per lot, and maybe that's something we can look at for the more village center R1 zones as a possibility. And then
Seward properties, yeah.
Seward, yeah, definitely Seward.
yeah, there's some pretty exciting high level studies. There's a transportation study done as well. So it's really coalescing around, building urban centers and being able to get around. So it's pretty exciting what's going on and seeing what's going to happen down the road.
It's very cool.
Good to have you back, Lee J.
Yeah, Lee J, I'm so excited.
Thanks. Me too. It's been very busy. I've actually, so I will be your primary contact, but I've got another person and a half doing planning board work. We've just extended ourselves so far that we needed to go with another person and a half doing that. So I'm now in Arundel, 1 day a week in their office and taking over all of their planning responsibilities, as well as the code officer in Agunquit
Wow.
is leaving. He has resigned, and so they just signed a new memorandum of understanding with me today to take on all of their planning responsibilities. Waterboro, of course, and then we have someone working in Hollis, Newfield, Saco, and South Berwick.
Wow.
We are very, very busy, so you may not see my name all the time. I may have to spread it out a little bit, but
That's okay.
I will be your contact.
We'll try to do as much back work. We try to do as much homework as we can so that we're very succinct in our meetings.
Awesome.
Anybody else have anything? Well, then I need a motion for adjournment.
Oh, we don't have Phil.
I know.
All right, I make a motion to adjourn.
So moved. All in favor?
That was my fault. I grabbed the wrong packet.